I was still pretty shook enough from the last level when I started Trance. Trance's map music did nothing to ease the tension. As for how to describe it, have you ever heard the theme from Videodrome? That's the closest thing I can think of to compare it to. I checked to see who the new monster was, and it was Orga, a monster who didn't make his film debut until 2000, appearing in the game made in 1988. So much for my theory about Titanosaurus and Violent. There's no way this game was made in 1988. Those guys at Toho may be smart, but I'm sure they couldn't see that far into the future. If they could, they would have never given Roland Emmerich the right to make the Godzilla movie. No, this had to be a hack of some kind, which just about opened up even more questions. Who made this hack? When? How? And most importantly, why? The why was the question that bothered me the most. My immediate assumption was to think Billy did this to pull a joke on me, but that couldn't be right either. Billy didn't know how to make a ROM hack. And if he did, he'd probably just do something simple and stupid, like replacing all the monsters with crudely drawn genitalia. Unless Billy had an amazing game editing skills and a seriously dark streak in his imagination that I had never heard about, he couldn't have made this. Is it even possible to put a hack ROM into a cartridge? Aside from all that, my eyes drew to a new icon on the map, a question mark. I was really curious as to what it did. I'm sure you're also curious, so I'll explain the quiz levels now, since this is when it started appearing. There was one of these per map from here on, and they always appear near the start of the map. When you start a quiz level, you appear on a screen that looks like this. As you can see, there are questions on the top, a yes and no button, and an emoticon in the center. I refer to the emoticon as face. Real creative, I know. And for conveniency, I'll refer to face as the one asking the questions. The music of the quiz level was a track actually in the game. It's the one that played when you try to use the Ghidorah cheat and get sent into an unplayable level. Face asks 12 yes or no questions, and you move your monster to the button for your answer. When you answer, the question disappears and Face changes expressions for about 8 seconds. And then he goes back to neutral, and a new question comes up. There was no time limit, nor any right or wrong answers. Face has no respect for the player's personal boundaries, and will sometimes ask deeply disturbing and personal questions. For example, do you like hurting people? Have you ever killed anyone? Have you been touched by a family member? Other times he would ask questions that were either mind-numbingly stupid, is the sun hot? Is the water wet? Or just flat out ridiculous, does your dog like the president? And maybe once per quiz, Face would ask you questions about the game. Which, with one expression, Face's expression changes seems to have no effect on the game, except for indicating what the game creator thought of the answer. His reaction rarely made any sense, and at first I thought they were randomly generated. The questions never followed a pattern. Face never stayed at the same subject for more than 2 questions. Early on, there were questions where it made me think the Face was building up to something, only then to ask some stupid garbage. Here are the expressions of the Face that I saw while playing. I'll separate them into 2 categories, the expressions I understood and the expressions I did not. First are the expressions I understood. The first one was neutral, his default expression. The second one was angry. The third was sad. The fourth was happy. Fifth was sick. Sixth was maniacal. Face made this expression when he was about to be an asshole. You'll see what I mean later. 7 was surprised. The 8th was love. The 9th was annoyed. The 10th was confusion. And 11th was either guilt or hurt. And here are the other ones. 2 of these only appeared once, number 1 and 12, and I suspected they might have been an in-joke from the creator. Their respective questions were, do you like ice cream? Or are you a tough guy? As for the questions on the first quiz, luckily I had a notepad and pen ready. See, I have problems remembering things, so I often carry one around to jot things down, and sometimes I doodle in it when I'm bored. So when the first quiz started, I thought I recorded what happened, and I'm glad I did. Here are the first series of questions, my answers, and the Face's reactions. Do you like the game? I said yes. It was happy. Are you afraid? I answered yes. It was surprised. Are you over 18? I answered yes. Reaction was the weird face number 5. Do birds have teeth? I said no. It was sick. Does the moon rotate? I answered yes. And it made a weird face number 11 reaction. Have you had a job? I answered yes. And it was confused. Do you like hurting people? I answered no. And it was annoyed. Is the sun hot? I answered yes. And it was sad. Do you like dogs? I answered yes. And it was happy. Is the president good? I answered yes. And it had a weird face expression number 3. Does your dog like the president? I answered no. And it was angry. Now that I have explained all that, time for the gameplay. After the quiz level, I tried the new green temple icon first, and wow, maybe this was why the game was so weird. One of the designers were clearly drugged out of his mind. Jokes aside, I was quite impressed with the graphics of this level, as disorienting as they were, but I hate those creepy blank staring statue faces. The music had a hypnotic Indian techno vibe to it. There were 2 new enemies in this level, a flying ghost type thing with a trunk, and a bat with a horse skull on his face. They appeared at random, but I was lucky to get a screen cap of both of them. Then I proceeded to the Blue Mountain level, expecting another nice calm stroll. I took my time walking through, and was completely taken by surprise when this happened. Not Magora came speeding down towards me and took off quite a bit of my health with his tentacle screws. It only took me 2 minutes to kill him, without having to worry about the time limit. But the boss monster never showed up in the scrolling level in the normal game. I was worried as to what other rules this game would possibly break. After another Blue Mountain stage, it was time to fight Not Vara, whose replacement was one of the most bizarre things in the game. This strange creature attacked me by kicking and also opening his chest cavity and firing heat-seeking missiles. I still don't get it. The missiles were sometimes a pain to deal with, but I found out that you could tail whip them out of the way. Not Varen was probably the easiest of the monsters replaced. The same could not be said about the non-Hedorah. Apparently the source of the horse bat, not Hedorah, was the most aggressively difficult monster to fight yet. Mostly because of his special ability. He could shrink and summon a small swarm of those horse bat things. I know there's only 2 in the screen cap, but every time he did this, about 10 would arrive. The AI took advantage of the distraction and attacked twice as fast while the horse bats were flying around. Once the annoyance was over with, I went through the green temple level to kill some enemies to restore my health. Interestingly, none of the horse bats showed up after the non-Hedorah was killed, and that was when I got an idea. If killing all the monsters make the red face show up, what would happen if I avoid fighting Orga and go straight to the base? So I give that a try, only for the game to tell me that there are no monsters there when I tried to start the base level. And immediately afterwards, the game took control of my Godzilla piece and moved me in front of Orga. My little trick did not work, so I tried to prepare myself for another chase. But first, I had to beat Orga. The fight with Orga confirmed one thing: whoever created this hack was clearly a Godzilla fan. Not only because he picked a monster like Orga, but because they actually implemented something that happened in Godzilla 2000 in a really neat way. Orga's primary attack was to punch and heat beam from his shoulder cavity, but once he had gotten at least half a health gone, he did something new. He would expand his jaw and try to swallow Godzilla whole, in the process of stealing your health and your energy. But in doing this, he gave himself a new weakness. Firing a heat beam into his mouth would take a devastating 4-bar off of his life meter. With that weakness revealed as soon as it beat Orga, and despite how much I hoped otherwise, the red face appeared on the map where the base was, and the music stopped. I readied myself as best I could. I started the level, and seeing that it was basically the same as the first, I didn't waste a millisecond before I start hauling ass. I soon encountered obstacles in the form of the ground tile, suspended in air, and most of them could jump over or destroy. Others you had to crouch under. About 40 seconds into it, I heard a horrible bellowing roar and saw the spider beast following close behind me. Stacks of obstacles barely slowed it down. It went back up and then charged its way through them, smashing them into bits. And when the smaller obstacles got in the way, he would expand his jaw, and swallow them whole. I was afraid, but with fast thinking and fast button pressing, I escaped him yet again. I finally felt excited, and so I laughed and said, "Not this time, asshole." Then I decided to take the screen cap to celebrate. But when I said that sentence, just before the level ended, the monster did something that made my blood run cold. It looked at me. The wave of mortal terror overtook me again, and I sure as hell wasn't laughing anymore. I took another screen cap for the next level, right before I rushed to the bathroom to splash some water on my face, and to take the piss that I nearly failed to contain when that fucking thing looked at me. The next level was dementia.